Yeah. So you say you're just gonna put it on the thing behind you?
Yeah, like I'll see, like I'll play around with it. Like I could the pro card, I could definitely just tape up back there, and just like have it as like tape. The I don't think the tape's gonna hold the sword,
Yeah,
so
yeah, the tape's not gonna hold a sword. So
might just put
yeah.
like a nail or something, and then just have it kind of sitting on it. But then we also probably want to put Emma's sword up there, so make like a cross.
Yeah. Oh shit. Right. Oh yeah, that's a good idea. Now there's a wall to your right if your thing is not flipped, if your camera's not flipped. Wait, yeah, you're right.
Uh,
Your right side.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, on this
so
side.
yeah, I think closer to the closet, I can see a bit of the wall. So I don't know if you want to put it there.
Yeah, that can work too. I don't know. We'll play around it. I still have like the thing where I can hold all my trophies on it. I
Oh,
can't
that
remember.
rack. I know that rack. I remember you having it in the old apartment where you have hanged all your medals. I think that thing is like really, really cool. You still haven't hung that up yet?
No, well, we've been just kind of like, yeah, we've been slacking with that, but I've just been trying to figure out where to put that too, because it'd be nice to have it like in behind,
Yeah.
like any videos and stuff like that,
Yeah.
but just like I can't really put it way up there.
Yeah.
Um, so I don't know. I'll see. Like I might just have to like shift the desk around in here and see what's gonna work the best.
Sure.
I like having the natural lighting coming in for the video, so it generally makes it look better. If it's like side lighting, sometimes you get shadows on the face and stuff like that. So, but yours is actually not bad. So
No, my window's like
you're
right here.
yeah.
So it's just wall right behind my computer. So
There you go. Then that might I'll have to try it out. Yeah.
okay. Yeah, just probably just play around with it. But for now, I might just put mine on this wall. So I'll just move this so you guys can see. So here, there's a small piece of land in between my window. I got
Yeah.
Amazon. I'm just probably gonna hang my sword vertical like that.
Oh yeah, that would work.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think it's just the design of the sword. I think just looks better if it's vertical than horizontal. I just kind of looked at it, and so anyways, it's gonna come, and then I'm gonna try to put a hole in the wall, and I'm just gonna hang the card just right above it. I'd probably just I don't know duct tape it on something like that.
There you go. Yeah,
Yeah.
no, that will work great. Like, yeah, because my sword is stuff over. Does yours have like a little hole at the top where you can just kind of put like the
No,
nail
yeah,
through
it doesn't have a hole. So it has
Oh yeah,
this. This is
that's
all
like
steel, but I don't think it will hold if I put a hook there.
okay.
Yeah, so it's just these two little hooks that come through this way and it's gonna hold like that.
Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ugh. And this is so fun, man. Just dealing with how to hang up there. Just spend the whole half episode just talking about how to feed our ego and just hang it where.
100%, man.
But yes, I agree. Now, just going back to the idea of celebrating, I think Kristen did say something to us at the Edmonton show, which it never crossed my mind. Now reflecting on it, this year, I think it's a very, very special year. Yourself, myself, and I think a couple of my friends that I've worked with has achieved this honor in actually achieving their pro card at a WNBF show. Now, if you said it was my lifelong dream to become a WNBF pro, I'd be lying if I said yes. However, I do believe it is a first step into the right direction of where I personally want to be. So, story for you is uh, from young age to now. If you've listened to our previous episodes before, you know I wasn't an athlete since when I was young. So therefore, I didn't compete in much competitions. Therefore, I didn't win anything. The best I did in my entire life when I was still a kid is I took part in a very amateur judo um, little sparring and competition-ish, and I placed third. But then that was before puberty. I was still probably just like 3'4", something like that. And that was the only sort of medal I've ever won in my entire life. And then I moved into a more academic course and career before this. So there wasn't really any sort of competition in the way. Now, well, not 10 years, 8 years ago, in 2016, that's when I began my first competition prep. Prior to that, I was just doing some sort of bro training or even inconsistent gym goer. Now, moving forward, that was my first prep. 2017 was my first prep. 8 years later, here I am. And I've used read of my posts. I've gotten to a little bit on how far it got here. So this for me is, I would say, is a big deal. It is something that I finally placed first at, so it means a little bit different for everybody. So it makes me feel like I finally did something useful in my life that is not just based upon very mediocre tiers.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
How did you? I didn't know you did judo. That's actually very cool. Like I did some MMA back in like high school and stuff, but I didn't realize you did that. We gotta.
Well, I wouldn't even count that. That was like I was literally like 3 foot or 4 foot. I was still a kid. So
Okay.
it meant nothing. I don't even know if I still have that bronze medal anymore. It was very insignificant.
I was gonna be like, we gotta do some grappling, man.
No. You would probably you just had a body slam me and I'll be done. But
Uh,
meaning forward, that since I did say it means very different for everybody, it took me 8 years to get into this specific place. I did start the sport much later than yourself. Not bragging. It took me 8 years, but it means definitely something different for you. And everybody on social media is exploding as soon as they found out you earned your WNBF pro card, and everybody, including myself, is so happy for you. Everybody believed that it was a long time coming, maybe a little bit too long for you. So in this moment, I know we talked about this last time that you're in peace with it and it finally comes together that we could solidify that the fact this is where you should be.
yeah, yeah, man. Again, congrats on the Masters Pro card for yourself, dude. Like again, like just watching you get that, like I just know like you've been through like a similar process where it's taken so long to be able to get it. So to be able to finally get that Masters Pro card, man, like it's just I don't know. I get almost more pumped seeing you get it than when I got it myself. I feel like yeah, like it's because I did do quite a bit of sports and stuff growing up, but like I was kind of similar. Like I never really placed like super high, like winning a lot of stuff. Like we would always come like third in competitions. Like I used to do a lot of curling, where we made it to provincials, but we never ended up winning provincials. I did like basketball, where in high school where we did pretty good, but we never really won. So like I would say this is literally the only sport as well where I've actually been able to actually win that pro card or like come first in shows and stuff like that. And like I feel like with the WNBF, like I've actually that was actually my second WNBF show because like all the other shows that I did was actually just the BCA, BBA, and the CPA. So when I did that Vancouver show back in 2023, that was actually my first ever WNBF show. Um, so I think that's where like a lot of people are like, oh, like you should have got it so much earlier. But it's like I've only really had one attempt at it. But I've competed in so many other like shows in different federations where it's just like I didn't have as many opportunities. So like if I don't know, like again, like I might not have gotten it early on, but like yeah, I didn't have as many opportunities to get just like literally that one show and then this the second show there. But
Oh shit. I didn't realize that. Like
yeah,
counting back, oh, you're actually right. So you did the 2023 Vancouver.
yeah. I think
Sick.
the reason why it seemed like that is because with COVID, just like yourself, man, like we like I had two preps get canceled due to COVID. So like I
Right.
was prepping for the Vancouver show back in 2020,
21.
but then it got canceled due to COVID. And then I think I was prepping in 2021. and then it got canceled again due to
Right.
COVID.
Yeah.
So I think like it just it seemed like maybe I was competing in like the WNBF for longer. Um, but yeah, because my very first show was through the BCABBA, which was the at the time called the Kelowna Classic, which I remember coming in third in my class, I believe. And then that's kind of what got me like really into competing.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah,
Oh, right. So, yeah, I guess it does make sense. Oh, yeah. It just seems like you've been in the WNBF forever. It's probably, yeah. I guess we've been posting about them, and then, yeah, on
yeah.
social media, I think we're just involved in them, just making the effect that we've been there for so many times, but we forget the times that we are at the show, but we're with clients, so
Yeah.
or like volunteering. So you see us at the show, but we're not actually really doing anything.
Well, yeah, that's exactly it. Because I remember Donald was my first ever client that I had to compete at the WNBF, and I think that was 2018. So that's when I started getting involved with that federation and having more clients go towards it because of that polygraph, because of the urinalysis test, and like since then the caliber has just been like creeping up higher and higher and higher. So it's been cool to see, but I think that's also where like that 2023 season where it was like, okay, like the competitiveness of this is like getting to a really good point, making it very difficult to get those pro cards.
I agree. I agree. Just by looking at it and watching it since not 2018, but having my eyes on this federation, which was recommended by Marvin, one of my friends, and Kenneth as well. Congratulations to him to getting his classic physique pro card at Edmonton. They all took part in the WNBF or IMBF back then in the US. Um, so then I was just looking at them, and until now, we finally got to step on stage 2022 for me in Calgary. That was my first show. And just counting, oh yeah, just counting the medals that like I have now, I was lucky actually to get a medal in every WNBF show that I've competed. So Calgary 22 was my first one, and then my second one was Kelowna.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just I've been
So that's kind
showing
of
up
similar
at
to me.
Vancouver like every year.
We're even more alike in that way too, because yeah, you did two WNBF shows, and I've done two
Yeah. Well,
WNBF
third
shows.
one, yeah, my third one is when the sword came. Edmonton's my
Oh,
third
right,
one.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Never
yeah.
mind. Yeah, yeah. So it was the third one. Yeah.
So second one is your so Kelowna is actually literally your second one.
Yeah, for the WNBF, and then in total, I think Kelowna was the eighth or ninth bodybuilding show that I've done. Yeah, I think that's right. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Well, it's still a long journey. It's still a very, very long journey. But now, since now we're pros now, we're now going to talk about what's next, because that's what's everybody going to ask. Um, we sort of decided, but we sort of haven't. I'm not going to tell you who's who, so you guys figure that out. But beyond that, there is something more important and significant that I wanted to ask. Now, this is more of a psychological question for fellow competitors or even ourselves. Uh, it is, I think it's just human instincts on this particular topic. How would you go around in, let's say, discussing this issue? The fact that we meet new friends and fellow competitors at these shows, it is competition. So we'll make friends and we'll make, I don't want to say enemies, but we'll make rivals.
Yeah.
In these shows. Now, do you find that you make friends more, or do you find you not really talk to them?
No, like I found at every single show I've went to, like I've always chatted with people. Usually it's I see them online first through like getting tagged in the WNBF or whatever show that I'm competing in. And usually we like they either comment on something of my stuff or I comment on theirs and we just start a conversation. And it's fun, man. Like even for the BC Cup this past year with Malcolm, like he beat me last year at the BC Cup. And then I knew he was gonna be there again and like it was just fun to like hang out and like because I respect him because I know how far he's come. He respects me, so it's like it's nice just to have like a person that you're competing at that you respect, and like you're able to just like shoot the shit backstage and just have a good time with it, rather than like staring at the person with the evil eye in the corner, and then just because like I feel like backstage at these shows, like it's nice to just let go of those nerves. So the more you can chat with people, the more you can just kind of relate and connect, because like a lot of times people have gone through very similar things that you've gone through yourself with the prep, like with all the symptoms that come along with it, with all the struggles. Like everybody's going to be slightly different, but a lot of times there's a lot of similar things, so you can really resonate with that other competitor, talking to them backstage or through social media. So I try to view it from that perspective, just getting to know somebody. And like a lot of like friends like me and you, like the first ever time we like started talking was literally because we were both going to be competing at the same show, though it didn't happen because of COVID.
Yeah.
We were potentially maybe going to be competing against each other at that show, but we kind of built a friendship right through
Yep.
it. So that's kind of how I view it. Is just trying to make friends with it. Like there's gonna be, yeah, that odd guy that's kind of a dick that is gonna be like super competitive and not try to talk to you and have this like, oh, I'm working harder than everybody else. Like everybody else is not gonna beat me because I like when people have that kind of mentality. Sometimes I see them kind of either like not talking to people backstage, but I honestly think that's just doing them more harm than good.
Yeah, I
So with
agree.
that,
Yeah,
yeah.
I agreed. So I from just this perspective, do to a lot of the shows that we've looked at or we've participated in Canada, that's usually the case for the backstage vibes, which I appreciate it. You know, everybody's very friendly, everybody's very supportive. So I would say the WMF Canada support system is extremely well established. However, now it is just nature to look at your fellow competitors when you don't know them. So that's usually the build up towards a show. When a show is coming up in 12, 16, or whatever weeks, let's say Calgary is going to come in, what, 16 weeks, 15 weeks from now?
Yeah, I think something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. So any other individuals that who are going to be going into the Calgary amateur show, pro show, that's a different story. Now, anybody who's going to go into the amateur Calgary show or even the Saskatchewan or the Ontario show that's coming up in WMF Canada, it is inevitable for you to just start wanting to scroll through social media, especially at their page. Whoever tags WMF Canada, you really want to know who is the formidable rival that you're going to run into that you have no idea who is. Uh, Easier said than done, as we've talked about. Even for myself, it didn't really get around my head a little bit. I would say a little bit. I would be lying if I said it didn't. In this Edmonton show, I did the same. I wouldn't say mistake, but I did this. It's so scrolling through social media and just to see who's going to be going into Edmonton for men's physique specifically. And I ran into Vincent.
Yeah.
Yeah. So when I saw him, I was like, oh my God, this guy is going to kill it. He is extremely well developed. He's got yeah, you saw him. He lives in Edmonton too.
Yeah, we actually he reached out to me like just to get some help with posing and just like chat a bit about the show and everything. And like so yeah, like I knew him. What, he came to, I think we hung out like probably 14 weeks out or something from the Edmonton show.
Yeah.
Um, but no, he was looking back good back then, and then like he came in, yeah, really, really conditioned, still looking very full, not too dieted. So no, I had a feeling he was he was gonna do very well at that show.
Yeah, and he did, and congratulations to him again. Um, you can see he was just beyond joy and beyond to win the whole thing. So I feel very happy for him. But let's rewind back in time, 12 weeks or something like that. Oh, not 12 weeks. I think the Kelowna and Edmonton was only 4 weeks.
Yeah, yeah, it
Yeah,
was. I think it was 5 weeks
yeah.
before.
So, but I did see him during that month on social media, and then I looked at him and I was like, man, this guy is going to kill it. And deep down, it didn't feel good. I mean, great, I'm gonna run into a very strong opponent on the stage. I might know that I might not beat him, and it killed me a little bit. until I decided to comment on one of his posts and or actually his stories, and then we just made it just small talk, and then that was it until I saw him in person. And I think when I saw him in person, that's when the whole not hatred, but the hate in that moment is just all gone. You just see him, and I feel so relieved. It's a very weird feeling. I don't know how to explain it.
Yeah.
Uh,
Well,
yeah.
he's such a nice dude too. Like he's very friendly. Like even when we met up, like it's like he also went through like he's competed once before and he didn't quite get lean enough. I think the coach with he was with at the time didn't kind of get him in the best position. Whereas this time he had a better coach and stuff. So he's kind of already suffered through like not doing well at the show. So like being able to bring a whole new level to this next show was really cool to see for him. And yeah, sorry, what were you gonna say there?
No, I was just saying that the mentality of the support system is very, very different. Being very competitive and just demotivating yourself, just looking through that social media, in deep prep isn't a good thing. But I know it's inevitable. I would say that still do it, but I think it's not I'm not encouraging you to do it, but then you'll do it regardless what we say.
Yeah.
Uh,
If you're the type of person that is very like cocky and think you're gonna like win the show and stuff, it might be a nice way to humble yourself to see some of the other people that are gonna be at the show. Just so you're not just surprised, like, oh shit, like I thought I was gonna like win this whole thing and I didn't do as well as I planned. Like it can be a great way to like, okay, like there's gonna be like this level of competition, so it can help you give you an idea.
yeah.
Um, Another thing though too with that, like if you're somebody brand new to competing, usually the people that are posting up on their stories, like they're at like a quite high level. Not a lot of like the other competitors are competing, so it kind of gives you a false sense of like how competitive like all the competitors are going to be. So just be wary of that as well. And like sometimes with people when they're posting up stuff, they're only doing it in very like crazy lighting that makes them look insane. So and sometimes you can see him in person, like oh, like he like this person doesn't look as good as like I thought he was. So
Yeah.
that can happen too. So, but the main thing is just like yeah, when you're competing, you have to be able to get in that mindset of doing it for yourself. It's nice to have a look and see where the what the competitors are at, and they see where okay, maybe this person might beat me and accepting that. But like, yeah, you can't get too obsessed with that because that can also make you do some stupid shit. So like, if you're seeing this guy like maybe he's ahead of you in terms of conditioning, and you're like freaking out. And like a lot of the times when we look at our own conditioning, we think we're less conditioned than we actually are. So that can start to play games with your mind. You can start making the wrong move if you don't have a coach and digging even further and making it hard to peak and stuff like that. So you want to make sure that this person isn't going to dictate what you're doing with your own like contest prep because yeah, you could, especially if you're in that emotional state, it can definitely make you cut calories more, try to train harder, like how run into recovery issues if you're not doing the best thing. So yeah, you definitely want to watch out for it making you make adjustments, unnecessary adjustments to your protocol.
I agree. So that is finally something that we we landed on the main talk of this episode is really just trying to maneuver around on your own prep and your own plan, just based upon who is actually going to show up at the show. Now, first off, I'll just say right off the bat is managing expectations. If you have no expectations, I'm going to speak from this from a very fresh personal standpoint, which happened to me at the Edmonton show. I was so overjoyed that I got my pro card in the Masters division. I was so happy, and then I felt like I was done. I don't need to do anything else. But then I still signed up to be the Open, and I had zero expectations. There were 11 guys, all of them were like thick and jacked, and my pump started to come down already. So I didn't even expect myself to even make top five. So I just wanted to get the open and just get it over with and then just rest. That was my expectation going up into open. Now, surprise, surprise, I actually managed to place second at the Opens Men's Physique right next to Vincent. And I'm not going to name who, but somebody told me that it was a little bit of not a struggle, but they were really comparing myself and Vincent for first place. So it was good to hear. It was very, very good to hear, and it made me very, very happy. I'm overjoyed to actually even place second. So I think number one, managing expectations. If you have zero expectations going into a show, you will be much more proud of yourself, and yeah, you'll just be so much more happier with the entire outcome. So that's first thing.
So, like with you, like, did you like let's maybe roll back to like with you and like Vincent and stuff like that. Like, was there any tricks that you used to try to not get that into your head too much? Like knowing that Vincent was at that show, or
I expect Vincent to be there, and I expect him to make top five or even top three regardless. There wasn't a lot of other athletes who tagged WNBF, so we don't know who else is there, including myself. I kept this very, very low key. I kept this Edmonton show very, very low. I didn't tag anybody. I didn't really tell anybody. Only a handful of people knew. Um, so there was no way in knowing who's going to be there besides Vincent. And we have been into so many competitions. We've seen so many athletes on stage. Therefore, once you see a physique, we have a pretty good idea if they're going to do well.
yeah, got
And
it.
yeah, so when I see him, it's like, yeah, he's definitely going to do well. That was just it. And there wasn't really anything else left to think.
Makes sense, man. Makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah. But going back to what my second point was, which I'm still trying to remember. Oh, right. Just going back in adjusting plans and comparison. I think you bring out a very good point, and asking me that question just remind me of what I wanted to say was how would you, not what, how would you, but trying to maneuver your way around psychologically in looking yourself in the mirror and then comparing it to what you see on the social media, knowing that's going to be one of your fellow athletes that's going to be standing next to you, like you're going to start judging yourself from that point. There's just no way around it. You're going to do it. I did it. I don't know if you did it, but I definitely did it. And I think you made it something very clear that you would probably start to want to make rash decisions in trying to outflex or outpose or outcondition this other athlete. So, from a coach's perspective, and an athlete just comes to you expressing a very similar concern, what would you say to them?
Yeah, like again, like it is good to know a little bit about your competitors and like some of them that are going to be there. Like if like for example, like we know we can push conditioning a bit more and out condition that guy, that's great. We just don't want to do it in a fashion that's gonna like have them crash heading into the show. Um, but no, it's one of those things where you just want to make sure that like okay, like if they're looking at their photos and stuff and comparing it to the other competitor, we want to see like what's realistic that we can actually change right now that's going to make you look better than this person. Like if this person's like genetically like elite, there's somebody like Leroy where they're just like a mass monster. They have crazy conditioning, crazy shape, and you're in your first ever show. Unfortunately, we can't do anything at this moment that's going to make you look better than that individual that took like 10 like a decade to get there. So just setting that a realistic expectation and then pointing it back to them, right? Like, okay, this is how far you come. Like, this is when we first started. This is how much you've been able to change, how much you've been able to improve on your posing, your conditioning, how things are looking better and better. And like setting up it so like, okay, like we're doing this for yourself. Trying to be your absolute best self. If you're getting distracted by these other people, it might make you like feel worse about yourself, and make you have a worse experience at the show because that's all you're focused on is them and like placing, rather like trying to reel it back into okay, like you mentioned, like having no expectations, like doing your absolute best you can, and see what that brings on show day. A lot of times you'll do better than expected. Like a lot of times, like not having expectation, like when you do well, like you feel really good. Like if and then if you do maybe slightly poorer than what you had, or like if you don't have expectations, then it's like even if you come dead last, it's not a big deal, right?
Right.
So like it definitely helps cushion it more, and it helps you stay motivated and ready to push. Um, but yeah, just trying to avoid having like a crazy expectation. Like even for me, like this last year, I knew I had a good chance at getting that pro card, but I tried not to like overly emphasize it. Oh, it's just a pro card, pro card, pro card, and just to have that all in my head because I knew like that was probably going to mess with me with taking action on certain things or my stress levels during peak week. So I was just like, okay, no expectations. I'm just going to follow the game plan and kind of see what happens. Like even when I competed against Malcolm at BC Cup, I was like, hey, like I know this guy's a fucking mass monster. This like I have a feeling he'll probably beat me, but like we'll let's just see what happens, right?
Right.
And then like yeah, he beat me, but I wasn't like crushed or anything when he beat me. I was like, oh yeah, that makes sense. Let's move on to this next show, kind of thing.
Okay, that's great. That's awesome. I think you make really good. Now, I want to dig just a little bit deeper on expectations, as you mentioned. Uh, Now we know as fellow competitors and athletes who competed so many times, or even watch so many competition so many times, bodybuilding competitions, to be clear. There is a certain placings on stage that we understand. There's a culture there that we understand on who's going to be first, who's going to be second, and the placing, how it's arranged. I'm not going to go into detail on how that's going to look like. Now, as a competitor yourself, as an athlete yourself, you sort of know where you stand once the judge moves you around.
Yeah.
So here's my, I wouldn't say a take on it, but I just wanted to get your take on it. How would your mind think that particular moment where you know that you're not at the place that you think?
Yeah, and it's a tricky one because even with the WNBF, like they moved me, I believe out from center to like one slightly off
To the
of
right.
center.
Oh, to the left, to your left, to our
Yeah,
right.
so like in my mind, like you start thinking like, oh, like am I maybe second? Like
Yeah.
and like, but you have to make sure that it's not going to affect your posing because like some people, I've seen this so many times where somebody's like dead center and they get positioned slightly over, and then they just stop flexing as hard. They're not as motivated. You can see it in their facial expression. And then it's like, well, you're just making yourself look worse. Now they're not going to bring you back to center. So like being able to like if you get positioned outside, like that doesn't necessarily mean that you're not like getting first place. They're just wanting to compare and like see like on the guy on the other side. And like even with some shows with WNBF, like one that I was judging,
Yeah.
one time they put the winner all the way to the right side. And I was when I was doing the test judging, I was like, what is going on? And then it's like, oh, they knew he was the winner, so they just wanted to put him off to the side and compare to others. I don't necessarily think that's the best judging move because it can mentally mess you up. But that's where you just got to make sure you hold strong. Same with the BC Cup. Like I was on the ends, like they positioned me on the ends of the four guys, and I was like, I was thinking back in my hand, I was probably getting third, but then I ended up getting second. So trying not to have your motion set too much on where you're positioned in that lineup. Yeah, if you're typically closer to the middle, typically that is the best thing. If you're dead set in the middle and you're staying there the whole time, that's definitely a good thing, but it's not guaranteeing you that win. So trying not to emotionally connect too much with that.
I agree. It could very much get in your head once your position moves. And it's a very, very tricky thing. And as a coach, or like, there's really nothing we can do about it. You are on stage. We can't come whispering in your ear. So I think my best advice is just to hold your composure no matter where you stand, even though you're at the corner, and just hold your composure. Do the entire flex no matter what. It's
Yeah.
not over until it's actually over.
The worst thing is too, like what you'll see sometimes is just people's facial expressions. So they feel like you can almost sense that really big annoyance
Yeah.
of them getting moved out. And like from a judge, I'm pretty sure they can sense that. Like if you're seeming annoyed on stage, like that's giving off like not the best vibe.
Yeah,
So
absolutely. Yeah.
you want to make sure you're still keeping like a good vibe on stage. You're still like again, enjoy yourself up there. Like do the best you can do, and like that in itself is gonna help you. Whereas if you're getting annoyed, if you're like fuck, like I guess I'm not first, and then I'm gonna start slacking with my posing, you're just gonna make yourself do even
Even
worse.
worse. Exactly. I
So
agree. I agree. So that being said, that's just trying to hold your composure as an athlete while you're up there. But has any, maybe I'll ask, and I'll word this differently. Has any athlete of your past athletes come backstage after the comparison round and just started to flip out? That he was so, like he or she was just so was upset with the placings on stage. Now, during that time, we still don't know who until awards where they place. Now, the most frustrating thing is when the class has an even number, so there really isn't a center a center spot, and you just don't know if you're second or third or first. Now, I don't know if you have any athletes come back saying what I mentioned, just flip out and just get really frustrated on the 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 positioning that they were on stage. Have you had that experience, or like if so, how would you have handled that?
yeah. I haven't had any like really bad version of that. I've had a couple of guys who are like, oh, like I feel like I should have done better. I feel like I should have placed better. But I've never had somebody like completely like flip out and get super angry and just start treating people
Just
like dicks.
rigged.
Yeah, yeah. No, like I've been really lucky to have clients that don't behave like that. But
Mm.
I think it's because I set that expectation up first where I'm just like, hey, like we're looking to do our best. Like I try to get them in a mode where it's like, okay, no matter what, like, okay, we did our best to get to the stage and trying not to solely focus on that. I think that's another thing too, is one mistake I did one show was I went backstage after like the prejudging before they did their walk, and I was talking to the guy and I was like talking about where I think he was positioned, and I think he thought he would position better. So during his box walk, you could tell he was just not in it. Like he was kind of all over the place. And so I'm like, okay, I shouldn't tell them that before the box walk. Like that was a bad move on my side. Um, but yeah, so things like that, I've definitely done mistakenly done. But yeah, no, most people I've worked with, like they've had a good mentality. Like, yeah, there's sometimes where like, oh, like I feel like I should have did better, like looking at photos and stuff like that. But sometimes the photos only tell you so much, and because like when you're there in person, like I've had times where I was at the show, seeing all the competitors and like the guy that clearly won, but then when I look at the photos online, I'm like, man, like this guy looks like shit with the photos online compared to how he did in person. And like I think that's where sometimes when people see these photos, they're like, oh man, like I feel like I look so much better. But when you're there, when you're directly where the judges are, sometimes people can look quite a bit different than those photos, like in terms of like the conditioning and that last little detail that it's hard to pick up with the cameras.
I agree. So like in person, I think the show definitely looks different from the photos, and photos only show honestly just a 2D version of it. However, we're moving and we're flexing and we're doing this and that on stage. The judges has a handful themselves. They've got to look at 10 or 8, 10 competitors at the same time and place them in just a short period of time. As for us, we can just look at our screen or and just judge there. So there is a bit of a debate between people in front of the screen saying and determining if this champion or this first place or second place is deserving. That's up for debate, and we there are haters. They're just going to just talk about that. Oh, we don't. I don't think this guy deserves to be second. I don't think he deserves the thing. How would they just manage? There was a very questionable judging call. So there are stuff like that in all shows, honestly. But you've never had any clients that just came backstage and then there was just dead silence that he just didn't say anything, right?
No, I don't think so. Because usually I'll just like start a conversation, be like, "How you doing, man?" And just like have a little chat about it. And like, I usually always like to say like things they did really well on stage, because you don't want to come back and just say, "Oh man, you fucked up this, you fucked up that." Like, you gotta be like, "Hey man, like this is really good. This is really good." And then just to, especially if they're going on for even though most judging's done, it's nice just to have them just like fix something up quickly for like the awards and stuff like that.
Right.
But yeah, or like their routine and everything.
But have you ever thought about if one of your athletes, like touch, knock on wood, man, like literally knock on wood, let's hope that doesn't happen. Like an athlete comes back, let's say this athlete has a very competitive heart. And that's also one of the downsides for being extremely competitive. They come back, they didn't meet their own expectations. They met yours for sure as a coach. They met your expectations, and you believe that they peaked as best at this possibly can. So, however, it's just them. It's just them versus them, and the individual just comes back just dead silent because he wasn't happy with himself.
Yeah.
It's a very tricky
Yeah.
way to just get into it.
Sometimes you have to just let them be and let them sit with their emotions for a bit, because like sometimes if you try to help like I feel like just from like an argumentation like standpoint with some people, that especially if they're super emotional,
Yeah.
if you start like trying to like talk about it, sometimes it's just so aggravated. So I would probably like just be like, "Hey man, like you did an awesome job. Like, do you want to talk about it?" Like if they're like in that like really, and like if they're like, "No, I just gotta chill for it." Like usually they'll tell you what they want. So like
Okay.
if they're like, "I don't want to talk about it right now," just like let them be, let them sit with it, let the emotions calm down, and then you can kind of talk to them. But yeah, if if they're in a bit more of a calm state, then yeah, then it's fine to kind of really dive into what happened and why like the placing is what it was.
Yeah, I agree. So I think that the positive side is just giving athletes positive reinforcements. For sure, it's even for everybody. I would try to give my best positive reinforcement to everybody who actually competed. Let's just say just saying a really simple, well done, good job to your fellow competitors or even the class before you. I think we have this in WNBF Canada, just creating a very, very good vibe backstage. So it avoids a lot of hard feelings. It avoids a lot of very weird, awkward silences at the backstage.
Yeah,
And yeah, I mean it's a very small backstage. There are a lot of people who need to share very tight spaces, like tank touch-ups, pump up room. It's a very tight space, and everybody needs to pump up at the same time. Athletes are getting crammed to a small space. It's not going to feel good. It's
yeah,
warm. Everybody and then everybody's anxious and very nervous to get on stage. So just saying that, what we want to say is just being in that environment can can go both ways. But I believe if making these positive reinforcements can strengthen the friendship more than creating rivalries in the long run. Now,
yeah,
bodybuilding is going to be there forever, and you might run into this athlete again and again and again. So, why make another enemy when you can have a friend?
yeah,
True, I mean, you might not be as gifted as the another athlete, but doesn't mean you have to hate him for it. It's not his fault either.
yeah. Well, this thing, if you make a friend with him too, like he might give you some pointers. He might be like, "Oh, hey, if you do this," or like he might actively try to help you rather than sabotage you. So
Exactly.
like,
Yeah. I
yeah,
agree. I agree.
so,
So I think this is the beauty of one of like a really good support system is having the support of other fellow competitors who did really, really well. They might give you some very good tips on what helped them compared to what you're currently doing. And I think it also brings me, I think it's a good segue, just a small segue to what I want to speak about is we get to talk about ourselves again on our not first prep, but our previous prep versus this particular prep for you in Kelowna and for myself for Edmonton on what we changed that pushed us a little bit further.
Yeah, with like the changing to the peak week, or just
That,
you're just thinking more
yeah,
broadly.
yeah, or that, or maybe at the prep itself or the posing itself, anything that you wanted to share.
Yeah, like I would say for me, definitely getting a posing coach definitely helped a lot. There's still a little bit of an issue with like my lats not coming up completely and the shoulders being slightly forward. I think that's probably a little nerves and just a little bit of tightness.
Mhm.
But being able to have like a posing coach definitely helped me out. I know for this last show, having Anthony just take the reins with the peaking, definitely helped me to kind of take 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 the stress off there. So, but yeah, main things are just time too, right? Like the more you compete, the better you're gonna get. The better you're gonna get with posing. Like if it's your first ever show competing, even if you have a posing coach, like your posing is probably not gonna be like top tier. Like it takes time to develop that skill, that mind muscle connection, have that awareness over your body. And the more you do it, the better you're gonna get. Same with prepping. Like each time you do it, like though it's going to be still challenging, it's going to get easier. You're going to have those habits are going to come quicker. Um, the whole process itself, just I find it actually becomes more enjoyable the more you do it.
Yeah,
Whereas the first prep, like if you
it's
guys are listening
grueling.
and this is your first, it can be pretty brutal. Like it can be pretty rough. You're not used to like this is the first time experiencing these kind of symptoms and that tunnel vision and like all the stressors and managing things. So like if you're gonna compete again, just know like it's gonna get easier each time you do it. Um, but yeah, those would be like my main points for this last one.
Great. That I think that's a really good pointers. For myself, I would say if it's your first time, I would just stay on the safer side if you're doing your first prep. You said it, the more you do it, the more experienced you're going to become, and it's going to become easier. And then you can experience different varieties of ways to peak that your body responds well to. Your body will change over time, as so did ours. It changed over time and it responds differently to different protocols. Now, with training science going evolving every single day, not every single day, but every single year, there's just new stuff coming out on how prepping is going and things like that. So there's a lot of ton of information out there. Now, probably just closing speeches.
Yeah.
First, is a little bit of closing speeches for getting yourself ready for the coming preps or coming shows. What would you have, let's say, tips for people with having friends coming to the same show? Potentially might be competing with each other. Maybe tips on how to manage them.
Yeah, so like again, just trying to keep that like friendly vibe. Like again, the worst you don't want to be like that super competitive person that's just like dissing everybody else, and especially because like if you do that and then you don't even place well, then it's like everybody now hates you and you didn't do well, so you're just gonna feel terrible. Whereas like yeah, if you're keeping that nice friendly vibe with people, like supporting them, they're gonna support you. Because yeah, anything you put out there, you're gonna get back. If you're gonna be being a dick to people or trying to be like super self-centered, like you're not gonna be getting support from them. So like I always just encourage, yeah, like whatever you put out, you're gonna get back. So if you're giving that support to them, you're gonna get support back. Yeah.
I agree. That's a really, really good pointer, and I think that's exactly pretty much what I would recommend as well. On behalf, again, for both of us, we really appreciate all the support that you guys have given us. It's been an amazing month with all the overwhelming congrats and all the blessings that you guys given us. We're really, really appreciative of that. We do hope to excel in some of these contents for you guys as well. If there's things that you want us to discuss or bring up, please comment below or slide us a DM. And again, I'm just going to bring it around again. If you are going to be on, if you want to do compete within this year, we WNBF Canada, we're specifically biased to the federation. We do think that it provides us a fair platform for us to for natural athletes to shine. Everybody's fair. Everybody's take the polygraph. All winners will take a urinal test, and they're all measured in a very equal. So I think it makes it fair. If you haven't started prep and you've wanted to compete your first time or your second time, we're more than happy to help. In let's say Calgary is in what 15 weeks, so you better
Yeah.
get started now. We really recommend you start a little bit early, as we talked about. Not really necessarily just looking at who is going to be there, but honestly, just starting early so there's more space and more room for us to play around with some peaking protocols and just having more time for you to prepare it.
Yeah, and just
Anything else?
more
Yeah,
time to get lean too. Like a lot of people, they come and they the biggest thing with those amateurs or first timers is just not quite getting lean enough. So giving you enough time to lose that weight or that body fat in a controlled fashion.
I agree. I agree. That's a really good point. But yes, if anything, thanks for listening again. I really appreciate it. We have Brandon here and myself, so please DM us if there's any questions or if there's anything that you wanted us to speak about. Again, we really appreciate your time. We'll speak to you guys next time.